So apparently, the X-Men been building the MCU this whole time. Yeah, not Iron Man, not Captain America, not even Captain Marvel when she helped Fury found S.H.I.E.L.D. No, it was Wolverine. And honestly, that makes way more sense because if anyone's going to accidentally create an entire cinematic universe, it's going to be the guy who can't age at all and hadn't since the first film. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm your host Royal. This is The Popular Perspective. So today we're diving into a theory that's going to tie together a few films from Wolverine, Days of Future Past, Logan, Deadpool Wolverine, The Marvels, and the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. All right. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but don't worry. I watched these movies way too many times so that you don't have to. This theory basically says the X-Men timeline from Days of Future Past is one that leads directly into the MCU, and the evidence is actually kind of wild. So I'm gonna help break this down for you guys. Stick with me. Let's start with the Wolverine. James Mangold's 2013 film where Logan is fighting ninjas and robotic samurai and even his own commitment issues. There's an alternate ending. I mean, it's official filmed, released, where Logan opens a case and inside is this classic yellow and black Wolverine suit. Helmet, gauntlets, the whole shebang. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't a deleted gag. This was Mangold saying we're gonna put the X-Men in their classic attire. And then what movie comes next? Days of Future Past. All right, Days of Future Past literally drops 1 year later. And what is Wolverine wearing in this apocalyptic future? Not the mask, but the yellow and blue suit underneath black tactical armor, right? So it's like he was wearing the full comic suit 5 minutes before seeing the advanced Sentinels show up, and then he was like, oh shiggity shoot, I should probably put something on top of this before I die again. But this does imply the X-Men were wearing their classic suits leading up to the Days of Future Past timeline, which lines up perfectly with the alternate ending that we had seen for the Wolverine. So we already have Mangold teasing comic accurate suits in the Days of Future Past showing Wolverine mid-transition from the comic suit to his apocalyptic armor. And it does get better. Fast forward to Logan, Mangold's next Wolverine movie, and Logan shows Charles the X-Men comic books lore has been collecting. So what do we see in those comics? The X-Men were wearing their classic costumes. Wolverine was wearing the mask.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Now, granted, in the movie, Logan does admit that the comics exaggerate certain things, but here is the thing. The comics are based on real events in that universe, meaning the classic suits existed, meaning Wolverine wore the mask, meaning the timeline where the X-Men wore the comic accurate costumes is canon. So now we have 3 separate films, all connected, all pointing at the same thing. Now let's jump into Deadpool and Wolverine.
On your left, baby girl. This Logan has the same, he can do anything, even musicals, look. And bonus, he's actually wearing a costume like he's not embarrassed to be in a superhero movie for once.
This Wolverine, the one in the yellow suit, the one that looks like he just walked right out of the X-Men 97 show, yeah. He's not a random variant. He's not Wolverine from Earth, whatever, we just made it up. No, he fits perfectly with Days of Future Past timeline Wolverine, the one who did wear the classic suit before the Sentinel War. And the Marvels end with Beast appearing in a lab, wearing a lab coat, and his face is one that's familiar to us. Kelsey Grammer, right? And very much like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, it's not as if the further out into the multiverse you go, these characters do not change because of the fact that we've seen Henry Cavill as the Wolverine, right? The Cavillerine. And I'll push it a step further. When we're looking at Cyclops in the Avengers Doomsday trailer for the X-Men, he's pulling off a visor that seems very, very, very similar to the sunglasses that he was wearing at the end of X-Men Days of Future Past. It's kind of like they're purposefully trying to tie this X-Men to that timeline. So what does all this really mean, right? Well, the Avengers Doomsday trailer shows the X-Men, right? Not the new X-Men, not the MCU reboot X-Men, the X-Men that we already know. And the trailer ends with the X-Men will return in Avengers Doomsday. Marvel isn't going to introduce a new X-Men team into the movie that they're saying they will return in. The line only makes sense if it's referring to characters we know and care about. And who fits that description? The Days of Future Past timeline X-Men do. Plus, Days of Future Past end with the reveal that all the X-Men have survived, meaning that they had decades to influence the world and create plenty of new heroes and alter the timeline. In Days of Future Past, the Rogue Cut, which is is kind of the main cut of that film. I'll have an entire different video as to why that's the case. There's a very specific line that Bishop says while talking to Wolverine about the mission and what he was gonna do and how it was gonna affect everyone. He goes along to say, some of us may never be born. That line hits different when you think that changing the X-Men timeline could literally create the MCU. And you know what, guys, I'm gonna conclude with this. Kevin Feige started his career working on the original X-Men movie. Those movies basically invented the modern superhero team-up formula before the MCU, before the Avengers, before the post-credit scene, before even the Fantastic Four. They were the X-Men. So Feige bringing the X-Men timeline into the MCU isn't just a crossover, it's a full circle moment. So guys, let's just put it all together, right? The Wolverine teased comic accurate suits. Days of Future Past showed Wolverine wearing part of that suit. Logan confirmed the classic suits existed. Deadpool Wolverine shows a Wolverine who fits that timeline. The Marvel show Beast from a similar world. Cyclops is seen wearing what he was wearing in Days of Future Past. Avengers Doomsday promises the X-Men will return. And Feige has been building towards this since the early 2000s. Alright, if you put it all together, the theory is simple. The X-Men didn't join the MCU, they created it. Anyways, guys, that's my theory. Let me know what you guys think. Am I on to something? Have I watched these movies too many times? That's a trick question. But please jump down in the comments below. And while you guys are down there commenting about this and we're discussing it, just hit the like button on the video since it's convenient. You guys are already down there. And since you guys are already down there, liking the video due to its convenience, just subscribe to the channel because that is equally as convenient and it just makes sense to do. You guys are already there. Hopefully we get to talk more about this when you guys are in the comment section and in the next video. But until then, right, stay healthy, stay happy, stay humble, and I'll be seeing you guys real soon. God bless. Now talk about Superman.
Superman is not my favorite.